Legacy is another different story. It's it's complex, and that's where I think this fee kind of goes all over the place because certain fees cover certain aspects of the business.
Yep.
And I think this is a good segue to start diving into what charges. So typically, when an owner is reaching out and they want to know what the cost is, the first question that is top of mind is what's the management fee.
Management fee, if you think about it, it's almost a bookkeeper. Is really the basics of what management fees are. So we collect rent, we distribute funds, and we maintain the ledger. Like that is the bare bones what a management company is.
Welcome back to another episode of Legacy Insiders.
Where you get the real scoop on property management and what it takes to run a successful company.
Yeah, so today we're having a little Terramana on the track.
Cheers.
One of our favorite little sippers.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Thanks, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, for that.
Yeah. Not endorsed.
Oh, man, this week's been crazy.
It's flown by.
It was exhausting for me this week. It was back to back to back all day, every day. Sun up till sundown. So I'm excited, but tomorrow I have a full day to sit in the studio and edit some of this, edit some videos, and then work on some ClickUp stuff.
Yep.
I'm excited for that. Learning all this new stuff, so I got the learning curve plus getting it done. What's going on in Bill's world?
Meetings. I mean, it's we have our state board meeting. We have that national private property rights meeting next week. I mean, there's just a lot of the high level kind of 10,000 foot stuff, on top of that, still out there trying to sell homes and get some listings. In fact, I have a triplex and a duplex coming up that I'm very excited for. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's just prep work. So tomorrow will be a lot of building. I'll be doing very similar things, hanging out with my AI bot and building stuff, and then prepping listings. And there's only about like 28 pages of documents to get ready for a listing, so not bad.
28?
Yeah. I've had California contracts that come. They're 65 pages long.
Holy, that's insane.
Yeah.
But realtors make too much money.
Not true.
Yeah, I had an all-day fix-it-all meeting today, and it was a very good team meeting. I'm just excited for the group of guys that I got going into the busy year. I'm excited for the things that are happening, and I'm also excited for the things that are happening with Legacy, too.
Oh, yeah.
We got an awesome team. We got an awesome staff, so it's super exciting.
And we're April, May. This is our first big peak, so we're coming into our big season as well. I mean, it follows kind of like construction, but obviously we're in North Dakota, so the winter weather is a huge factor. And if you don't have to move, you don't want to move when it's 20 below and windy and your stuff freezes in the back of a van on the way to your destination. So it's April, May for us is huge. And then, of course, August, September, when the college students come back to town, that's when we also have stuff flying off the shelves. So we're prepping for our Super Bowl.
The party animals.
Yeah, don't record yourself. Lesson to all you tenants. Don't record yourself destroying a property. It is dumb.
Yeah, not everything needs to go viral or try to be viral.
Yeah.
So today's topic,
The F word.
the F word. We wanted to bring the F bomb on it.
Yeah, that 4-letter F word. You ready to drop it?
Yeah, it's fees.
Fees.
It's all the fun with the property management.
Yep. I think, a lot of times when we're onboarding an owner or even just we're being shopped because we're in a commodity market, we haven't invented property management. It's something not new. So we are very much a commodity as far as we're everywhere. It's a very normal thing throughout the United States and the world. It might have changed a little with, Airbnb and whatnot, but one of our goals is always to be fully transparent up front so we can set the expectations for our owners so they know what to expect from us. And the only way to do that right is to talk about that 4-letter word.
To me, it's kind of sad because it's difficult for anyone to talk about money, whether it's with your spouse, your business partner, you're going into a transaction with a contractor, property management. We get this idea of the charges, we get this idea of it, but then we just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
We don't really set the clarity of what it is and explain why we charge that, right? One of the golden rules of business that I was told is if it costs you $1, you should charge $2. And it really rings true because when we first got into this game, we were trying to be the cheapest.
Yep.
We were trying to give the deals. We were trying to do that. And that's just a bad formula in general. Number one is when you start to get that reputation of being the cheapest, it's very hard to get that reputation turned around.
Yep.
The other side of that coin is you don't really understand, you get into the business and you don't really understand why they're making all those charges. Yep. And what the reason for is. So we wanted to really open it up and have an open conversation and educate not only property managers, but also educate owners of why all these charges are, because it gets really confusing in property management.
100%. And most any other, when we see an owner agreements, we figure out how we're going to take on a new property from another management company. They don't even have most of the fees in there. So as an owner, you get this sheet, and you're like, why is my deposit this month so small? And you have to look through and then fee. And if you look at their owner agreement, there's nothing in there. There's literally no list, it's just like, oh, there's a fee for that? I didn't know that. Oh, there's a fee for that? I didn't know that. So for me as a property owner, it's like, I want to know what's possible so I know what to expect. Because when I get feed, I get pissed because it's like,
when you get
what F? yeah, exactly. It's the worst part is it's always retroactive.
Yeah.
Because we in the daily of property management, oh yeah, we know this property has a problem. Today, it was a stove at one of my personal properties that was being cleaned, and she's like, it's so nasty, but only one burner works out of 4. It's like, do you even want to clean it when it's probably should be thrown away? It's like, sweet, but because I'm in the daily, they asked me. It was a little different. But had they not called and I just see a new stove charge, I'd have been like, what the heck is this for?
Right.
So yeah, fees, no matter what, because they come late, you never want them, but especially when you're reading and you're like, why am I out money? And then you see it's up because of fees, not because of even repairs or something that improves your property. It's like, what the F?
We get really good at doing the thing that we do, right? So it's a hard skill set that you acquire. You're good at doing the job, but I think what gets overlooked is tracking that and actually what that costs. And that's something that's rang true with me with both businesses. And now that I understand finances, it's really a different game. And we can do that, but here's the cost, right?
Yep.
So it's this is the cost of doing that. And it really, for me, it builds confidence in the sales team. It builds confidence in the team. It builds confidence in having that proactive conversation and setting that expectation when you understand the cost. You look at getting an employee, you have WSI, you have unemployment, you have taxes. And just recently I learned that you actually have business taxes to tack on top of that.
Yep.
And then, so that's where when I say, let's say all that cost is $100, when we charge $200, that's the charging rate, right? And I'm not saying we charge $200. I'm just using this as easy math example. Now that's 50% gross profit. Yep. So now you have your cost, which is 100 times 2. That's 50% gross profit. And really, what happens after that is all the overhead comes out of that. That $100 doesn't go in your pocket. That pays for all the phones, all the office software, all the stuff that directly doesn't get charged out to the client. And fix it all, it's easy to do. Legacy is another different story. It's very it's complex, and that's where I think this fee kind of goes all over the place because certain fees cover certain aspects of the business.
Yep.
And I think this is a good segue to start diving into, what charges. So typically when an owner is reaching out and they want to know what the cost is, the first question that is top of mind is what's the management fee?
Yep.
So what does the management fee actually entail? Because we've had owners in the past that they take our fee sheet and they start crossing off all these fees and say, no, this is included, this is included, this is included, and then we get this owner's agreement back and they have all of our fees crossed out and say, all that is included in the management fee.
These are also the people we don't want to manage.
So I'm just going to kind of throw it onto your deal here. But what is included in a management fee when someone asks the percentage of it?
So this isn't be one of these legal answers that says it depends on your contract. So
state.
Yes.
We're in North Dakota, so if you're listening across the nation, you got to understand your state rules.
Yeah. So,
and we're not lawyers or attorneys or anything like that, so don't take this as legal advice.
Don't take this to the bank.
We're literally just having an open conversation about the fees that we deal with and just try to explain them.
Yeah. So a management fee, if you think about it, it's almost a bookkeeper. Is really the basics of what management fees are. So we collect rent, we distribute funds, and we maintain the ledger. Like that is the bare bones what a management company is. Because we, filling units, of course, that's part of it, but that has its own thing we'll talk about. But, theoretically, if you had a 12-plex and we started managing it and I didn't ever have to fill a unit, your management fee would cover all the rent collections, all the reporting, all the tax filing, all the deposit ledgers, all the tenant ledgers. That's management right there.
And that includes the software?
Yep. So that's the apps, that's the software. For the tenants, that's you, the owner, that's the reports, that's the tax filing at the end of the year. Like that is, a perfect management where I don't have to fill any units. I'm collecting rent. I'm getting it to you. I'm paying your bills and giving you what's left after.
Does that include like after-hour maintenance and stuff like that?
That depends on your contract.
Software, though, to manage that?
Yep.
In ours, it does, right? We use AppFolio. And what's AppFolio average on a door, would you say? Plus or minus?
It's about $9 a door, but we upped ours, so it's a little more than that. But
which adds more value, right?
100%.
To the client, the tenant, and everyone involved.
The tracking. I mean, so
more
part
reports.
of the bookkeeping is this just the tracking. Like we can see who put in a work order. I can see which employee responded and when they responded. Because one of the biggest threats to property managers is negligence. Like that is what we can get in trouble for. So having a system like AppFolio where everything's coded like, yeah, the tenant told us, we responded, here's the time, here's the text, and they were either refused entry, whatever, it's like it was their fault per se. Like that's why that's part of the system, but that's what we do is like track all that because if, I could call you up, oh, I saw your service, blah, 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 and we have an agreement and then I get distracted to go somewhere else. Now you, the renter, are upset, don't know what's going on. I said, she said, he said, like this. We just like, no, message to the system, track everything so that we can prove like, no, we were on it. We did our job, So that's kind of hiding in that management fee that we're talking about, but that's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah.
But it's just part of the tracking thing because, everything adds up. There's nothing, as they say in economics, there's no free lunch.
Is there anything else that management fee covers that you can think of top of mind?
Literally, it's 2 paragraphs in our owner agreement, but how I summarize it really is that it's the bookkeeping, it's the collection of rent, it's the reporting, it's the tax filing, and it's the deposit of funds to the owner. So that is the management fee. That's what it covers. That's what it's there for. Basically, anything beyond that is when we actually start having fees, because now I have to spend employee time to do something.
So speaking of employee, when we look at an org chart, what would the management fee, like what would that reimburse a company for employing, like when we look at that, like what would that reimburse?
So for us, the management fee covers the softwares. So we're talking the actual PMS or property management software. It covers, should cover in part the listing service, because we do have to market vacant rentals, and we kind of hit that twice with the filling fee, which we'll get to. But and then it's our overhead. Like, we have to pay for the system so we can track everything. We have to pay to have the reports. We have to pay. So it really should cover
Office staff?
office. Yep, the office team, who like the bookkeeper, because that's truly one of the most integral parts.
You
cover
should
the
have
phone
an
line.
in-house bookkeeper, I think.
Well,
For
what
the
we
most
found
part.
is we have to have in-house bookkeeper, because we're averaging a little over 2,000 transactions a month, versus like a Fix-It-All, or even me as a realtor, 2-3 a month.
Yeah.
Like you probably a couple hundred.
Yeah.
But in property management, it's like, how many? I think we have 2 or 3 tenants who actually use a third-party software that allows them to pay periodically through the month, and they front the money. It's like a payday loan service. But so, long story short, there's transactions happening all the time, because we're paying vendors. We have vendor invoices coming in. There's people making micropayments. There's people moving in, people moving out. So yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, we got to see some property management companies down in Houston, which was great to see, like in a population of 4 million. But it was like they had, I think they had an in-house bookkeeper, they had an AR team, and
Yep.
then they had
AP team.
AP team.
So accounts
slash
receivable.
eviction.
So they had a full eviction gal. That's her full-time job. But when you're at scale and you have thousands of units, that's quite common. So
There's definitely good CPAs and bookkeepers out there that you can vendor out, but when you start getting more quantity of transactions, I just don't think that they have the capacity to be
Yes.
as intimate with your stuff. They can keep you compliant, but I just think with property management, it's a whole different game for them. And we found that out with CPAs too, that they just,
fourth one's a charm.
Yep. So, what with the management fee? There's like, what's with the range? Like, there's 4%, there's 10%, there's 12%. Like,
Yeah. All the way up to
what is with the range?
So, how we set up our company is, take this as you will, but it's kind of like a headache charge. So, there's something to go with the economies of scale. So typically, the more units at one location, the more servicing we can do, the less trip charges. So typically a single family house, there's no scale. It's one utility you have to set up, same as if you're doing a 40 unit. You have to do everything for a 1 unit. And then you have to drive there. You can't say, I'm going to do XYZ service, like these 3 services in building B, let's say. The house, it's like, if I'm going to go service 3 houses, I have to physically drive, take out the toolbox, bring the supplies, and go. Or maybe track down paint. That's going to be 3 different paints. So, there's just no scale. So we have to charge more because there's those costs that we just can't recoup. Versus a multifamily, where we can drop that percentage, is like, okay, we set up 1 utility and we're good for 20 units, let's say. My service technician can show up and knock out 2-3 things. He can replace an appliance, he can change a light, all in one spot, no extra gas. So that's why there's a range in fees. So there's the multifamily aspect of just straight economics, and then there's the condition factor. And this might not make sense kind of saying it like that, but you get what you advertise for. So our nicest, newest granite countertop, subway tile, beautiful apartments, they feel real fast when we get top dollar. Some of my properties, particular, that I've started my little empire with, is like, they're 80 years old. They have dark oak everything. There's paneled walls. They don't show as nice. They aren't as nice. So we have to charge a little more because we just know that it's going to take more showings. There's going to be less demand. So we're going to have more time in those units just trying to even maintain them. Plus, more falls apart.
Yep.
From
Maintenance is more calls.
Yep.
And when you mean top dollar, you mean the owner, not us, like top dollar.
Oh, sorry. Top dollar for rent. Like
Yes.
we get
Yeah.
really good rent.
We don't get top dollar personally as a property management
I
company,
wish.
but the owner gets top dollar when the
Yep.
units are more presentable. And, I see some of these landowners that want to get into, these investment owners that want to get into investments, and they just want to skate by. They get the cheapest property and they try to
Yeah.
get, I'm not going to repair stuff. And all that other, and it's just this snowball effect that I think that it's just like you're trying to cash flow, so you're obviously paying your mortgage off, right?
Yep.
Or at minimum you should be paying your mortgage off, but they try to cash flow on this like get rich quick scheme on I'm going to buy this shithole and try
It's not
to
wholesaling.
You're right. So it does come down to the quality of the property too. It makes it easier on us. I think the maintenance charges are lower. I
Yep.
think all around it's just lower. And then the other thing I heard from you was basically if you have 40 single families versus 40 in a multiplex, it's obviously one location. It's easier to manage and maintain.
Yep. Yeah. Because just on the things that go into that we have to manage, we have to make sure all utilities are kept up. We have to make sure the insurance is up to date. When there is an insurance claim, we have to deal with that. We have to make sure that the grounds are maintained. And the only way to do that on single family, smaller duplexes, we have to drive there and check it out versus multifamily. A lot of this stuff, we have subs and other people to do that. So yeah, the condition affects that because if it is going to be older, if it is going to require more maintenance, more check-ins, and it's going to take more of our time, which costs us money. I mean, I don't think we have an employee that costs our cost is I think $42 for an employee by the end of the day when it's all said and done.
Well, there again, you get you hire employees for $16 an hour. It's $16 an hour a skill set. So
Yeah.
it's like you want good skill set. You want these people that are capable, compliant, and experienced to run your property. You're going to pay more for that.
Yeah.
I've never had anything in my life that paid you bought cheap and didn't have to buy it again.
Correct. You always pay for in real estate as a realtor, as property manager, as an owner of these properties. Like you're going to pay for it somewhere. Like what I see is when someone cuts corners, then when they sell their house, guess what gets cut? The value. So you pay for it somewhere. It's just where. And actually, I do want to hit on that subject. I know we're talking about the F word today, but I do have to say, like in our evolution as a company and as just business owners, you start the company with generalists. Our first VA, Joanne, the bomb, generalist.
Shout out Joanne.
Yeah, she's awesome. And that got us so far.
Yeah.
And then last year for us, we matured and we realized like we probably shouldn't be fixing other people's problems and being yelled at for fixing them. So we got proactive with our maintenance. We got we just kind of retooled almost everything. But then we knew like we don't need a leasing agent. We need a pro. We need someone to actually run and manage the company. We don't need just someone to put Facebook posts. We need a pro. And we started proactively hiring professionals rather than just taking generalists and the affordable person. And it's a game changer.
Yeah, I was kind of giggling there because I just thought about our growing pains, and it was literally like chewing on glass. Just the things that we had to go through and we have a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're still going to get, we're still chewing on glass, but it's like, it's much more softer glass now or something like that.
Well,
it's
you
not
just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. It was, yeah. So, one of the things is, now that I've chosen you because of your percentage, right?
Yeah.
It's like
that is not the most important part. What we're going to get to is why and how you should pick property management, because that percentage is like asking what the fuel economy of a car is.
Yeah.
Depends. What do you want to do? It's a box truck. Or do you want a hybrid,
I love that analogy. Do you want to go fast? Do you want to? Are you hybrid? What are you? But now I see that I'm going to get charged all these there's these charges for onboarding. Like
Yep.
what is with the onboarding per
Okay.
door? And
So
I see.
should we just focus on owners, just to the owner side first?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
like,
we'll circle back with the tenant.
okay. So right up front, like single family, we haven't charged, but who knows? Someday I'm sure we will.
There again, a learning pain until we figure
Yeah.
out that we need to charge.
But
We're literally trying to help out. We're literally trying to
Yep.
to be the best value for the dollar, and we're trying. But I think what was that 24? We almost had to shut the doors down.
yeah, absolutely.
Was it 24?
It was January 2025. I can tell you exactly where I was sitting. It was snowing.
Yeah, we actually it wasn't a good situation.
No.
And what we found out was we were only charging $200 for
Billing fee.
a filling fee, at which that is really supposed to help the leasing agents.
Yep.
That's supposed to recoup the leasing agents and
Marketing
and a little bit of the
costs,
marketing and stuff like
The
that.
technology that
Sorry
does-
to go down this rabbit hole, but
Nope,
I'm just
let's go
saying,
for
like,
it.
it was, it
It was
was
stressful.
it was very stressful. It was like, we're trying so hard. We want to be the best. We want to, we have all these big dreams of just adding this massive
I'm
value.
just hearing the Pokemon theme song in the background. I want to be the very best.
Larry, Lovely will put that on for us.
Please, Lord, no.
She'll edit that in for us. But no, this is the cue for that. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we were charging $200, and it
We're
was like
undercharging. Yep.
we were funding marketing and leasing agents to fill units for owners.
Yeah, we lost probably $28,000 easily filling units, doing what we're supposed to do because we had a full-time employee we were paying, and we weren't recouping anything on that front. Leasing is, I will say, the single most expensive part of property management. And when we were talking about management fees, why do older, nastier, ugly properties, why do we charge more for those? Because of that very reason. When you're trying to fill, like we had a property that basically you had to go down a ladder to get into the basement unit because the steps are so steep.
The lotion puts this
Jesus,
the lotion on the
yeah.
skin.
Like trying to get someone who'd actually accept those living conditions. One, the price was so low because it was, a 1918 converted single family that had a couple additions on it. I mean, it was just a mess. And it's like, okay, that leasing agent probably showed that thing 13 times before we found someone who's like, oh, I can afford this one and was willing to live in that condition. So
It's amazing how some of these people take them like shithole properties and cobblestone something together to try to get revenue out of it and rent out of it. It's like, oh my goodness, I've seen some.
I will say this though, because you can never judge. Because one of my properties is basically a studio. It's downstairs. It was a basement house from the 50s, and then in 64, they put the upstairs on. So there's no internal stairwell. It was a basement house, and then they built the real 3-bedroom house on top. And I was showing it to actually a family friend, and I was like, ooh, this is my nastiest unit. It's got cardboard. It's not even real wood doors on the cabinets. It's that a veneered cardboard basically with a wood print. And oh my God, this place has a kitchen. Look at it. We have 4 cabinets, and they were stoked. They were so excited to have this place. And I'm like, okay, because I was kind of going to belittle it, kind of talk it down, and they loved it. In fact, before I bought it, it was listed as a 2-bedroom. The main bedroom, the only bedroom, just had a 10 by 12 closet. And they're like, this, they were, I don't know. I had to learn that, we don't know where people come from. So
Yeah, but the difference is you're not nitpicking like maintenance, and you're not trying to make a fortune off of that unit. That's
Correct.
That's the difference.
True. Yeah. No, and that's actually one of those when we were talking about expectations, we always talk about that, being real. We actually have a fee that says if you ask unreasonable rent for your property, we will charge you a vacancy fee. Now, people read that and they're like, oh, there's a vacancy fee. Like, that doesn't make sense. Then you're disincentivized in filling my unit. It's like, no, that's actually a fee that gives us the right to charge you for being a moron. Like, if you think your shiny turd is worth $1,000 and we know that it's only 600, like, we have that right. But have we ever charged it? No.
But the other part of that is just to make sure that, with the North Dakota winters and stuff like that, that the heat didn't go out because there's not someone actively living in that unit.
Yeah.
So if it's sitting for 3 months and all of a sudden a water hose blows up and no one's in there and no one checks it, so that's really the concept behind that, is to make sure that the unit is being watched over. So that's there again, employing someone to drive to the unit and time to check it over, and that's $75 for the month.
Yeah.
So it's a couple trips of just checking on the unit, making sure heat's going, making sure there's no squatters in there.
Yeah.
You're talking about some of these units, these lower class units, and they're fine. I mean, like you said, there's people that
gotta have affordable housing.
I'm not dissing it. I'm not dissing it. Not everyone needs to live in the Taj Mahal. That's not my point. We're literally just talking about the cost of what it costs to manage these.
Yep.
But yeah, so
right away, we're on onboarding fees. So onboarding, like I said, a perfect management situation. You have 100% occupancy. We are collecting rent. Everyone pays on time. I put your report together. I have collected the rent. I send you the report, and I deposit the funds. That is management right there. Onboarding means I now have to take time, and either our office staff or whatnot has to get your tax and legal information. We need to get the information on the property itself, amenities, what products are in there as far as like, is it Whirlpool? Is it like, so we have to get the appliances. We need to figure out the maintenance. Is it yard? Is there snow? Are there sprinklers? So there's all this data we have to put into our system so we can run it properly. And it's real time. So this onboarding is actually, you're just prepaying for the office staff time and even management and maintenance time to prep your unit and get it properly into our system so we can manage it correct. So there is a very real cost, and $300 is way too little, but it's just a number thrown out there. Like, we probably will have 6 to 8 hours into a single family, and we can't really charge for that. And then on that front, like, we can't charge what the actual hourly is, but there needs to be some sort of compensation for it. And when this really comes into scale is like, let's say we onboard an 8-plex. So one, we have the building that we have to onboard. We have the owner that we have to train how to use our technology. And then we have 8 tenants with 8 different leases with potential pet leases that we now have to also onboard, train how to pay, and contact. So that is where onboarding goes, is it covers the office time of chasing down every current tenant, getting the building, getting the property squared away, make sure that we have the utilities going, that the insurance is good. So that's why an onboarding fee exists, because there is a lot of time involved. Even as something as simple as, hey, can you rent out this bedroom? Yes, we can. But what's the door code? What's the Wi-Fi? How do they get in? What happens if there's an emergency? Who takes care of the yard? Where's the key located? Where's your backup key? Where's the backup key?
I'm just thinking about a couple of the bigger complexes we took on, and one of them, the previous I don't even want to call it a property management company, but the previous company, or not even company, I don't even know what to call it.
Shit show.
The previous people that were in robbing the owner of their money, they showed up with a ice cream bucket full of keys and
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A fistful of files, which would have been the tenant. I don't even know what you want to call it, but it honestly looked like someone was carrying a stack of manila envelopes, 15, 20 deep, and they dropped it in the parking lot on a windy day. and the wind blew papers across the parking lot, and they didn't care to pick those up, and they just kind of shuffled and shuffled the files back together, put it back together, and then handed it over to us. And so we had 24 units that we didn't have
a lease. They didn't give us the deposits, which this is illegal to this day. What they did is illegal. They stole those tenants' deposits. I'm gonna let that owner deal with that, but that was straight up crime.
That's a whole nother episode for sure.
Yeah. Oh Lord, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yes, but yeah. So that was one of them. The other one was the company actually disintegrated in thin air, and we had to transfer, I think it was 118 units into our system manually because the
4 days.
The two, so shout out to our team for actually accomplishing that. We thought it was not possible. And then
Weekend warriors.
now all of a sudden it's like, what's the login for this? What's the password for this? So it's
We
like,
couldn't get utilities because, we need someone to sign off. Well, that company doesn't exist. The phone number rings nobody. So how are we going to get permission from a no thing? We literally were just sending an estimated check. We were just sending $1,000 checks to the utility company because they won't give us a bill. We know there's one. We want the lights to stay on, the water to flush, but who knows? It could be $10,000. It could be $800. We had no clue. We just had to kind of estimate off our other multifamilies and pray to God while we literally had to get the CEO's permission of one of the power co-ops to grant us access to manage the utilities at 118 units. It was crazy.
yeah, so we basically funded both those onboarding. We funded lots of hours and lots of time,
That
money.
means we lost money, is what he's saying.
We funded that, and so we're trying to be as fair as possible, but we are we're learning as well. So we're kind of tightening our grip. And the flip side of that coin is we had a couple owners that were excited about a duplex that they had, and we went in there and we went into the unit, very nice unit, and maybe it was a single family. I'm thinking split level, but anyway. In Mandan.
Yep.
So, so we got these owners, very nice couple. They had a great rate on it. They wanted to use it as an investment. I think it was their first one, maybe even.
It was their first.
And so we sat down with them and we went through the agreement, and it's like there's we didn't charge them an onboarding fee just because it was that easy, that simple.
Less than 10-year-old house.
Yeah.
Tenants are going to pay all utilities. It was really just setting that expectation of maintenance. Our rules for filling, because we're dating that person for a year. We have to deal with them, not the owner. It was a great experience across the board. And we were asking for top dollar, which is the goal for the owner. And it took a little bit to fill, but we have fantastic tenants, and honestly, I don't even know if we've even had a work order. So
no, it's been quiet. So
yeah,
those are the properties that these fees don't apply. And some people look at this fee sheet and they're like, this is a lot of fees. But we actually have it broke down to onboarding, monthly costs, variable, and rare. And so we actually have it categorized on this sheet that we send you. So when you're looking at it, it's like, you start telling
there's
these
22
up.
fees. It's
it's like, but it's also the condition of your property, and it's not our fault that you didn't buy a high performing property. But if you're looking at getting into this and you want to reach out to Bill and he can help you guide you through, what a good rental if you want to get into investment properties. There are Bill, and I'm sure there's a few other realtors to stay away from. And
no other realtors, just me.
I'm sure there's a few that have knowledge, and I'm sure there's a few to stay away from. But yeah, reach out to Bill. I think he's very knowledgeable with getting the best bang for your buck.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about us is we're not a one-trick pony. Like when we first started, we just took any business, and luckily we've matured to the point where we now can choose who we work with and for. And we had to open up the gates. So, at one point, we were doing Airbnb, which can make some really good money. It can make the management company some really good money. I mean, it was almost triple our normal rate, but you're running a hotel. So you have to have guest services. You have to have it was crazy. I'm glad we got out of Airbnb specifically, but we still do furnished rentals. It is a revenue changer. And it's an awesome thing to offer our owners because like we had a third story efficiency apartment, basically like A-frame house. And we actually put new flooring in, we furnished it, and we took a $600 rental and turned it to a $1,200 rental. And it's so close to the hospitals, the travel nurses love it because they can basically walk. So having those strategies also helps the owner because they increase revenue without having to build an addition or add another unit. And it's less than like, I think we average about $2,400 for a 2-bedroom upfit. So going off there.
No, that's good.
So onboarding was like kind of the first initial fee that they may or may not get. I'm sure when we have a full-time sales team, there will be a charge for that because it's not just your time, it's real time that we're paying for. And then the next thing is, are there tenants or are there not? Because if there are tenants, that onboarding fee helps us get them going. If there aren't, we go take those photos, we get the property in our system, and then the very first charge you would get is going to either be lawn care or snow removal, because that happens no matter what's going on with the property, and then a filling fee. So like one of the things we did, I'm going to hit that lawn care, like we're a pass-through for expected charges, meaning we don't mark up lawn care because it's North Dakota. We have grass, it grows. We have weeds, they grow. And we have snow, and it blows. So, like, that is just part of maintaining properties. So, like, we don't have a charge on that. If a tree fell on that property, then we could have a charge because that's a different thing. But just to give you an idea. And then the filling fee. We were talking earlier. Filling can be a nightmare. It can take hours and hours and hours. I personally just had my largest unit. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath. It was vacant for 4 months, which hurt me deeply. But it is what it is. It's a large unit. It has a higher than average rent in our area because it's a twin home. So, but I know it was shown 8-10 times minimum. I know our current gal showed it at least twice already. And it's like, okay, if you take an hour drive time, half hour, and then all the coordinating, because of course everyone always shows up every single time
and answers and responds.
Yeah, there's easily 40 hours into that house, and the filling fee won't really cover it. I mean, just being honest. But then we have some like our newer, nicer multifamily
averages it out a little bit.
Yep, they'll show it one time, and it's like, yeah, I want this. And I'm going to tell my friend because I think the place is so cool. I have a gym, I have underground parking, blah, blah, blah. So it's, it depends. But that would be the first charge you would see on your owner's statement from us is going to be that filling fee. So the only one you're guaranteed is management, a filling fee. You have the success. But as a management company, that is one of our most costly things that we do. And the next most common charge is probably going to be, like I said, lawn care, snow removal. And that's just a flat. There's nothing to do to that one for us, but some companies will charge for that or add their percentage. And then from there, it's maintenance. Is there any other owner fees I'm missing that don't get into insurance or anything like that yet?
Just unit turn.
Okay. Yep. So,
which we just kind of started charging for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the simple thing though, is it takes time.
Yeah.
So that one I've had an owner argue with me over, and we're still in it, but it's like, yet again, we don't have to do the inspection we do. We can just accept that the tenant moved out and then just go straight to the cleaner charge. But by us sending an employee and paying them hourly, they go and get probably about 80 photo inspection. Everything is documented. We can legally then go to court and get damages paid if it's over their deposit. So this step, which some owners don't like, but we do charge for it because it's like, this is above and beyond, but it protects our owners and it protects their income, because the more thorough we are in a move out and the maintenance and getting the unit rent ready, the better one the unit is. But also we can stand up in court and say, tenant A did this, this, and this damage. We have this much deposit, but the trim, like I'm thinking of that unit up north that like they pulled the trim off and they said they could smell the urine in the hallways. It was that bad. Anyways, like that charge exists because we don't have to do that step. We could just kind of chance it, but no, we're sending an hourly employee in there to do this detailed report. So the owner, the tenant, and ourselves are all on the same page. We have data that we can take to court if we need to, and we can charge to get that owner's recoupment of the damages. So that is one of the charges people see, and they always ask, well, why do I do that? It's two-part. The tenant moves out, we have to move out the tenant. So that means we have to get the keys, we have to get any other items that we give them, amenity keys, we have to get garage door openers, that kind of stuff. We have to make sure they forwarded their mail, all that, make sure that the utilities are back in their name. So there's moving out the person, and then there's restoring the unit to its marketable shape. So it's actually a two-part move out. And yet again, if the unit's beat up, if we actually charge time and material to go through a unit, our move out charge could be 8 hours. But yet again, that's us digging deeper into an already deep hole. Like, oh, great, the deposit won't cover this repair. Now me, the property manager, is going to charge you extra for a cleanup because the unit's destroyed. Like, that doesn't make sense. So that's why we flat rate ours, because it's like, all right, some move outs are awesome. Place is clean, it's rent ready. We win as a company. And then when it's bad, we lose as a company. But why pass it on to the owner?
Right.
And you definitely had a hand in that logic and that.
Right. And why?
By the way, this is going to be a two-parter. This is going to be two podcasts.
Yeah, we're
only going to get through owners.
So, but why does it seem like our delinquency is so low and our move-outs are so clean on the tenants that we move in? Why is it when we take over properties, it's like there's fist holes in every door, fist holes in the drywall, and the unit is absolutely like you basically need to renovate the unit when these on their delinquent eviction. When we have these tenant takeovers.
I'm going to quick hit this though. We actually had to put a charge in that says, hey, homeowner, if we're coming and fixing up your problem, like you have bad tenants, your property management was trash, we now have a fee per eviction that we charge the owners up front because of how much time it takes to do a proper eviction, to do it right. So just cover that. Like that was something that wasn't ever in our contract. We worked with the coach to make sure like everything was on board, but we were solving so many other people's problems. We had to put a fee in to warn them, like, if I have to kick out a bunch of crappy tenants, I'm charging you, the owner, for our time in our court. Like the tenant has to pay their own court fees, but yet again, just trying to bleed a rock. Yeah. So why do we do that? One, because I got kicked in the mouth way too many times before we started this company. So we screen, like, it's kind of like they say, what, hire slow, fire fast. It's no different for us. Like, we really do verify. In the age of AI, we get pay stubs that are fake, companies that are fake. So we have to like actually scan to make sure this paycheck is a real company and it's a real paycheck. Like, it's crazy what goes on, but we are very thorough on our screening because, yeah, there's people who will pay you double rent if you maybe don't run a background check or don't report they live there, or, you know, and there's a lot of...
Just did a big drug deal and they got a bunch of cash to throw on you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's a huge red flag when there are people who will rent a unit never to live in it. If you allow that, you need to question yourself. Because, like, for us, it's absolutely not like, nope, it is, you're living here. We're doing the backgrounds. We want to deal with people we want to deal with. You know, we accept everyone as far as, like, for fair housing compliant, but it's no. We screen hard because we want to make sure they can comfortably afford the unit. In my early days, when I was in my mid
And not
20s,
destroy your unit. Like, maintenance is a huge cost of this. Like, put maintenance fees aside. And
Yeah.
all the fees, just put that aside. Like, when you have to remodel your unit every time a tenant moves out, that's cheaper is not cheap.
yeah, and that's on a different episode. When we talk about how property management companies scam owners. We'll talk about that infinite filling loop where, I can take a criminal and I can charge. The state of North Dakota allows us to charge triple deposit when it's a high risk felon, someone recently out of prison.
And they use that for revenue.
And they use it for revenue because they know. And guess what? They're going to charge a filling fee.
It's weird how all these Facebook communities are just blowing up with like all these property management companies that never give a deposit back.
Yeah. We actually have a blog that says how to get 100% of your deposit back. And there are a couple, actually, there's an active lawsuit against 2 right now on that very subject. But it's like, no, that deposit's their money. And it's got to be marketable. So if they're clean, like when I was by myself back in the day, like I actually had a tenant who, when they moved out, the place looked better than when they moved in. And I was like, that's when I gave up cleaning. I'm like, I'm hiring cleaning because I'm a dude. I clean like a dude. It looked clean to me, but I was wrong.
I threw you off. I don't know if you remember what you were talking about.
Well,
you were talking about your old unit on something.
Well, we're just talking about judging a unit like the cardboard
Yep.
cabinets, and they were just happy to have a kitchen
Yep.
area that wasn't like in their living room. So, but there's, on just owner charges that an owner would experience through the course of property management. The next ones all kind of hit on like instances. So we had talked about if we have to evict an inherited tenant, we actually charge for that because in essence, the scenario usually is, I'm not making any money, my places are all beat up, either you guys solve it or I'm selling. And a lot of times we solve it and they sell because they're just grateful to finally be able to sell it again. So we get in and it's like that, the one he was discussing where we got files and half of them were empty. They told us that there was 21 occupants. There was 16, 2 squatters. They didn't have leases for a bunch. They stole the deposits from the tenants, which is illegal. The list is long, but the owner, basically we said, hey, you got to pay rent. Your contract says you're paying rent on the 1st. You're not paying rent. And I think we evicted 3.
It was insane.
It was,
and then they got they just got done paying like a $30,000 maintenance bill. They just got done paying a $40,000 maintenance bill.
$60,000.
And then we took over and we're like, oh, this is going to be nice. And we go into these units and there's fist holes like every 3 feet in the drywall.
Someone had perfectly
windows kicked
punched
in.
out around their sofa.
It was like these units were like, it was like a disaster, like Hurricane Katrina, or like it was a disaster.
And like in particular, there's one unit, they had a $60,000 spray foam bill for 1 room. Instead of fixing the roof leak, they just spray foamed the entire cavity above the room. I mean, sure, it stopped the water, but did they have a receipt? No.
Or holding water.
They literally said, sue me. That was the property manager's response when the owner asked for what the bill was. And it just so happened that the property management company also owned the spray foam company. So, yeah, that's fraud's a different day. Fraud is a different day. So some of the other fees that come with property management, like I know one that people kind of question is like, we have one if we're asked to go to court, we have just a flat fee. Have we ever charged it? No. And what does that mean? Like imagine if there was a sale of a property and the new owners sued the old owner, we could be asked to go witness. Like we have a fee for that. Have never had to charge it. We have one for insurance claims. We had a roof that got damaged by hail. If I actually charge the time I spent getting that roof replaced. It took 9 months. They flew an adjuster from New York. Did I say that word right? New York?
Yep.
Okay. They flew this gal in who couldn't even get up the ladder, a 3-story building. And it took 9 months to get that roof replaced. If I actually charged for all the conversations, the times I had to drive over there, how many times I had to submit pictures, it would have been like probably a 40-hour bill when it's all said and done.
Yeah, then you get the contractor and the insurance and the adjuster in, and that's just the magical formula of speed.
Yeah.
Speed and response.
Yeah. No, it was like we as a company just decided flat fee. So yeah, I lost money on that deal, but I didn't want to penalize the owner that their insurance company was trash. Like, so that's one of the fees that we have is just, hey, if we're going to do an insurance claim, we know we can't charge hourly. We could, but it would be ridiculous because it's not just like a one and done. It's not like I unclogged your toilet. It's like, hey, flooring guy. Hey, subflooring guy. Hey, odor guy. Hey, plumber. Hey, I mean, the list is so long on those repairs. So that's a pretty normal fee actually across the board is to have like an insurance claim, home warranty. There's a charge for that because you have to coordinate.
Which isn't super huge around here, so it's very, very bottom on the rare.
Yeah.
Just to kind of wrap this up or whatever, kind of go towards the end. Obviously, we got to do a tenant one. We thought we could get through both of them, but that's all good. The one that I scratch my head about the most is when an owner goes on with a property management company and they lock them in with this contract of you're guaranteed to be with me for till death do us part.
Yep.
And if you decide to leave me, you owe me $30,000 or what?
Yep.
Like, what can you? I'm just trying to wrap my head around that. We have a money back guarantee, or not money back, but
we have 100% satisfaction guarantee. So we got in this business to improve the industry. Like the bar was so low, it was unbelievable. Tenants were getting used and abused. Owners were getting used and abused. North Dakota was a little behind the times as far as tenant landlord law. In some things, we're really good about other things.
We're the Wild Wild West.
But basically, yeah, it's the Wild Wild West. I mean, there's 8 pages of tenant landlord law in the state. I mean, it's whatever. But where I'm getting at is like we got in this business to help and improve, and we want to take care of people. Why would we trap someone who is unhappy and penalize them for leaving us?
For us not doing our job.
Exactly. Like I was talking about when a unit's destroyed, if we actually charged how much time it takes to even assess the damage, owners would be like, great, I have my own unit that just got repaired, $6,800 in damage. It's like, cool. Rent was only $750. Like, I'm not going to recoup that. It's just gone. And of course, it's affordable housing. So getting a payment from someone who's already living paycheck to paycheck, not really in the to-do list. But if I was then to say, our maintenance guy had to go there 14 times to assist in that makeover and charge additional, it would have been insane. Like, it would have added probably, let's just say 10. It would be another $750, $800 in just trip charges. So the whole theory of this is a lease or an owner agreement violation or an end of management charge. So theoretically, a property owner or property management company could say, hey, for me to end my management with you, it's going to take office time and I'm going to charge you for it. I've seen 3 months fees. So they would say, hey, we're making, let's just say $500 a month off your property. You owe us $1,500. I've seen a flat fee of $1,000 per unit. I've seen a variety because when we get the packet, I have to go pick them up and, of course, read through what the penalty will be. Like, we don't have that. We are straight up. If we're not doing what we said and you're upset as an owner, we failed. So I'm not.
We obviously want a conversation first. Like.
Yes, we want to learn. It's not just like, hey, Bill, screw you, we're done. Like, It's not like that. But it's just Yeah.
But our retention is pretty good now that we kind of got our stuff together as well.
Yes.
So
Well, and like it's a wonderful problem to have, but we had so many homeowners or investors who are just so beat up, so scarred. And we talked about this previous episode a little bit too. Swords are out. How are you going to screw me over? How are you going to screw me over? Because that's what they're used to, is sloppy, reactive, and overcharging property management. And for us, it's like no, we're here to help you, and I don't know how helping you. If we can't do it, we're not doing it right.
But we also need to keep our doors open.
Correct. But all I was getting at is with these beat up owners, when we would get their units filled with good tenants and looking good again and actually acting like an investment again, they were so relieved, and the value had increased so much, they sold. I mean, we didn't lose. I can think of one property that we lost to a different property manager. Almost all of our turnover was because they were selling units. Oh my God, finally, the fourplex moved out of state. We furnished a unit. We got the rent, got him $60,000 more in the value. Boom, sell it. Another unit over under duplex. Got that thing cranking cash. And oh my God, it was sold it. I mean, they were just selling. Most of our properties we lose because they sell. Yeah. Because we did the job. We did it right. We got it where it's actually making a profit. And we improved the strategy on a bunch of them. So
well, and what sucks is I think we were the last stop.
Yeah.
Had we been the first stop and they had a better experience with that property, or I think it could have, things could have changed. But we're not perfect.
No.
Like, we're human, just like you are. I mean, you make mistakes, you mess things up, you drop the ball sometimes, and so do we. I mean,
yeah.
But we own it, and we've ate a lot of costs too. I was just looking at this fee sheet, and there are a lot of fees that we don't even charge because we're just a little bit too lenient, I guess.
Well, and the other thing is, like, we put all our fees in our owner's agreement, which we lost. Actually, I'm grateful we didn't get them, but we lost them because they're like, oh, you have too many fees. The other guy doesn't have this many fees. I'm like, they probably have more than we do because we just don't know that we should be charging for it. But it's disclosed up front.
Yep, no surprise.
Versus I didn't know there's a fee for that. Like, so our onboarding is slow because we want to cover this. Like, I send the contract, and then I actually call and do a Zoom or physically go over our owner agreement with the property owner. So about the third time I've discussed management with them is the first time they have a chance to even sign the owner agreement. Like, it is very slow on purpose. Like, of course, in a disaster situation, we can get a property, like when we took on those 118 units in 4 days, like, we can handle that as a company. But to do it right, when we have time and choice is an option, we go over all these fees because we want them to know. Like, most of them we haven't even charged. They're just there in case.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, you know what? You want me to go represent you in this trial? Like, yeah, I'm $1,000 an hour. Surprise.
No, and what I like about our own agreement is we have initial slots next to some of these fees, so it is customizable. It kind of almost turns into a la carte depending on the unit. I mean, we're upfront and open and honest about all the fees, but like, some of them are just not applicable. They either will or will not be charged to that specific situation. So
Yep.
that I think is a cool part too.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. We're humans dealing with humans, renting to humans. So our contracts have to work with what's going on. So a furnished rental that rents by the week is different than a storage unit. That's different than a Class A. That's different than a shop condo. That's different than a commercial retail space. Like, there's things that have to tweak. A single family doesn't have the same issues that a fourplex will have, and a fourplex doesn't have what a 40plex will have. So I always just tell owners, like, on your single family, and I cross out sections of the contract that just don't apply. Like, there's a technology fee at scale. Like we talked about, let's just say $10 a door for just the software we use. It's like, okay, well, that's monthly. And if we have 100 doors, that's $1,000 every single month just to give the tenants the chance to pay electronically. Like it,
Yeah, and
it's real cost in there.
there's another package where it's like, okay, let's just pay more on the management fee where it's a percentage, and then you don't have to worry about the fees.
Yep.
Like it's just this is a fixed cost, and sometimes it benefits us, sometimes it benefits you, but there's just it's flexible, and that's what I enjoy about what we have to offer. It's flexible and it's custom to what you're doing, and
I just think of the scenario where it's like, we're going to actually charge you more because we have to fix your property. And once we get to this occupancy number, whatever the goal is, then we actually tone it down to our normal rates. Because like, I think of those 3 units in particular, like had we known what we know now, we would have started and put them on this scale where it's like, okay, we're going to be spending a lot of time here. We're going to fix your problem, which was a multi-$100,000 problem. And then once we get our tenants in here who pay on time, who have background checks, who we have verified their income and aren't felons, hopefully, like we can scale back the costs. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility in that because just because it's written down one time doesn't mean we can't change. Because like specifically, I'm thinking about even when we furnish a rental unit, because we're going to fill it more often. There's just different things we actually raise, but the owner sees a net 50% increase in their income as an owner. For us, we only raise a few percentage points, which is a raise to us, but it's because we have more time. We're filling the unit 4 to 5, 6 times a year versus once every year and a half. So, yeah, that flexibility is needed, but it's usually because, one, we're fixing something or improving something. So,
yeah, this is definitely something we'll have to add on to. And I just like how this is the most controversial. I shouldn't say that, but it's like...
No one wants to talk about it.
This is... Everyone has their own belief. There's probably companies listening that are like, you guys are insane. There's probably owners that are listening, you guys are insane. But at the end of the day, we're willing to talk about it. As you can see, we're literally making a podcast about it. We have nothing to hide about it.
No.
So I'm excited to see all the trolls that come out on this one, but we're willing to talk about it. We're open, we're honest, we're transparent, and we've ate cost because of our mess ups in the past. And we're just at the end of the day, we're just willing to help out. And but at the end of the day, the fees are there for us to keep our doors open.
Yes.
We want to continue being in business. We want to continue going on, and that's the
we
moral
want
of the
to
story.
continue improving tenants and owners' lives.
Yes.
So they always say, what's the call to action? Like the biggest thing to remember, especially if you're looking or thinking about having a proper property manager, is get their fees up front. Understand why you're being charged, because there's 100 different ways, 100 different fees. Every town, every company, everything is different and unique. So it takes a little bit. Now you can just at least throw it in AI and say, hey, tell me what I should be aware of, or what red flags do you see? It's that simple nowadays with technology. But ask the question, use the F word, find out what your fees are going to be so you know, because like I am an owner, and when I see charges, I'm just like, God damn it. But when I know why they're there, then it's not as hard. Like I know my destroyed unit had our maintenance tech charge me every time he actually had to go on site for a different vendor. My bill would have easily been $1,000 higher, but our company kind of ate that per se to do a good job. And then there was a markup on some of the different contractors that I was willing to pay, because guess who didn't have to go unlock a door, go coordinate floor colorings, go let a painter in, go pick the color of paint, go pick the color of wood that the new damaged trim was going to be. Like, it was handled, and that is worth it to me as an owner. I knew I was paying a little more than if I did it myself, but I won, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
and if you have questions on your lease, if you have questions on your current whatever, ask us about it. Not that we need to nitpick the other guy, but or ask your current property manager.
Yep.
Go to them, and you should understand, and you should know what to expect. And if they are fumbling and can't figure out why they're charging you, there's some green or red flags there.
Yeah.
And just make sure that you can understand what you're being charged at the end of the day.
Yep. That's 100% it. It's just ask. Use the F word.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I think we want to get a banker on here, right? A commercial banker. We have one in mind.
Yeah. Well, there's a few things because like just coming down the pipeline, so you guys are aware what's coming. Is we want to talk about financing investment properties. What do bankers look at? What things do they care about? Does do amenities affect it? What the hell is a debt coverage ratio like? So we plan on bringing in some fun guys that can just help. So if you're looking at making that switch from maybe single family duplexes into the commercial side or into commercial lending, this would be a really good education, and it's hopefully help clarify some things. Because like even for myself, I took a fixed mortgage and used a commercial loan to refinance it to get another property. I mean, there's just the whole financing will probably be 10 episodes.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there'll be some good stuff coming up. Then we still have episode 2 of finances or of the F word.
The F word, yeah, we got the tenant side of stuff too. So just to educate the tenants too and what they can ask and stuff. But yeah,
So
for me to wrap this up, owners, if you're out there and you don't know what's going on with your properties and you don't know what fees you're being charged, you don't know how to read your statement, you do not need an accounting degree. You just need a better property management company. They should be teaching you these things. They should be showing you these things. You should be open and honest about conversations about being charged. If they're just charging you just to charge you, then there's some red flags there. So understand the fees. And also you have to put yourself in the property management company. Most of us are just out to be honest. And
yeah.
there is some people that are a little scam, but we can have a conversation about that on another note. But yeah.
Yep. No, I mean, like I said, to summarize this, management is bookkeeping and reporting. So collecting rent, depositing it, sending it to the owner, giving them a record of the receipt, and turning in their taxes is what your management fee covers. Filling units, maintenance, repairs, all that other stuff are why there are additional charges because, you could say they're part of management, but at the same time, we've had a property that we never filled, and we just managed for almost 2.5 years, and then he moved back to town, so he doesn't need us anymore, but that was it. He never had a bill from us, just management fees. So it's like, that's a perfect run.
Yeah, they can be part of it, maybe for a higher fee, but yeah, talk to your property management or come check us out too.
Yep. Everything's on our website. Even guess what? Our fees and our percentages are even on our website.
And if you're trapped in a contract and you want to change, and come have a conversation with us, we'll try to help you out, get you out of that contract.
100%.
Maybe we'll eat that cost too. We'll just put it right in the munchies.
I'm not hungry. No more eating prices. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah.
Or thank you for watching, I should say.
Yeah, and if we added any value to you, or a property owner that this could help out and get a little understanding, send it to them, share it, like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for watching.
Peace.